Welcome everyone to the 412 Homestead. You know, I was wondering what my video was going to be about this week, but I never dreamed it would be about fire on the 412. You know, it's bad when you get a call and they ask you your address and then they tell you there's fire that is just south of you, about a mile, that's burning. And you know that that property is a hay meadow and the wind is blowing 20 to 30 miles an hour with wind gusts up to 45, and all of your family lives on the north side of that fire, and that is exactly the way the wind was blowing that day. And that was on Tuesday, October the 29th. My sister-in-law called me and asked me what exactly my address was, and I told her. And when she said there's a big fire, I just started calling family, and I couldn't get anyone to answer. And so I sent a text to my husband and asked him if there was fire out there. And he looked to the north and there wasn't anything, and he looked to the south and he said he knew it was bad. And then he sent me a text, a reply, and said, "It's jumping the road, it's on our property." And I dropped everything and just took off, headed for home. And of course I'm pulling over because there's all kinds of fire trucks headed to my house. And I couldn't get in. Of course, you know, they're doing their job. They won't let you in to the area because it's congested with fire trucks and emergency vehicles, and so I couldn't get in one way. So I went another way and was able to get home, and you know, it was just so smoky. And actually, to back up, when I couldn't get in from the north to our property, I just had to pull over and start praying. All I could do was just raise my hands and just pray to God to protect everything out here, protect every person that lived out here, protect every structure, protect the firemen that's coming, just, speaking to the wind to calm down anything just to help, with the situation that we were under. And I'm sure people probably thought I was nuts as they were driving past. They would have to drive and turn around because they couldn't get through. But, I just kept praying, and I'd already called people and just asked them, please, please pray, because it's bad. The wind is blowing, and, it's so dry, and we didn't know what caused the fire. And actually, we really still don't know what caused the fire. But it did start in the section line to the south of us. So it had burnt through, probably most of a mile. And thank the good Lord up above, it burnt past where my mom and dad live. It just went by the side of their house just a little ways, and the wind was so strong that day, it just carried it across the road into the field, the pasture behind our house, and it missed my aunt and uncle's house. It went right behind them, and it went beside our house, and it burnt right behind our greenhouse, right behind the new structure. My mom and dad's having a house built, and it just went on north of us. It burnt right up to another house just north of us. But by the time the firemen had got there, it was just, my husband was trying to fight it with the garden hose, and the wind was blowing so bad, it just, you couldn't do anything. And the smoke was so bad, we couldn't see to my brother's house to see how he was, and the only thing that saved his place was he had sprinklers going, and it burnt probably within 20 feet of his house. But thankfully today it's still standing. It just burnt around everything. I think the wind was carrying it so fast that it would just go around things. But there were so many departments. I couldn't even tell you the names of all the departments that showed up to help everyone out here, and we are so thankful for them, because they have full-time jobs. They had to leave. They worked their heinies off out here trying to get the fire out, and so I'm sure there's paid firemen, but there's also volunteers, and there are more people that had a hand in getting this thing under control than we'll ever know about. But thank you to all of those people that showed up, and they didn't just leave when it was over. They kept an eye, most all the night. It did burn up electric poles. There were electric lines down because the poles burned in two, and before probably 9 o'clock at night, they were planting poles and getting electric back onto our neighborhood out here. This all started, I don't know, about 3 something, and then it was a danger on how much that had burnt on those poles. So the next day they did have to come in and replace poles, and that the amount of crews that came, it was just mind-blowing. It was just the craziest thing to see. But it was a scary thing, but God got us through. But we're just so thankful that everything was protected, and there was a lot of things that burned through the night, a lot of things that smoldered, and the property was baled this summer, and that helped. There were places that had grown up that were taller that it buzzed through. But one thing that helped us and our family was how far out we mow around our property. We keep it mowed, to keep this very thing from happening, to get so close to our house, and thankfully everyone out here does that very thing. They mow a ways out from their house, keep it nice and trimmed up. A lot of what's burning right in this shot right here is in the draw, and it's a lot of dead trees and things, but we're just in drought situations, and you don't dare go out and think you're going to light just a little bitty fire, because you'll have something gigantic like what went through our place. But it did leave us with, it burned up a lot of things that did need cleaned up, but we did lose a lot of trees. You could look out at during the nighttime, and it's just glowing. It looks like little sticks, but it's actually trees all through the property that it just caught, and they smoldered and all. But we had neighbors come and check on us, and we're thankful for our neighbors, and we're thankful for the phone call that we got, which alerted us, because we were out. My husband was working in the house. My brother was working in a house that's being built, and none of us out there knew that there was fire coming. And thankfully, my uncle made a phone call and said, "Hey, do you see that smoke?" And thankfully, someone that lived out in the area had called my sister-in-law and was worried about our family, and she called me, and that's how it all got started. And so, you know, you guys just try to take care of, you see something, you say something. And it sure saved us. It got everybody on high alert. Another thing we might remind you, besides keeping your place mowed, is you know, consider a water trailer, which we're definitely considering getting a water trailer ready for, you know, springtime, because every little bit helps. If you can fight off the fire, wet your ground down. That's what saved my brother's house, is being able to drag out those garden hoses and those sprinklers and wetting all around his house, and it burned right up to it. But thank God it's still standing today. Because if he would have left, you know, I just don't know what would have happened. Another thing to think about is, you know, we had no warning. This was this was a shock, and I mean, you just had to move. If you've got any important papers or anything that you know, you need to know where they're at. If you just need to grab them and go, or maybe get you a safety deposit box, or just some things we're thinking about. You know, because we never dreamed anything like this would happen. And I'm telling you, the amount of people it has taken to get things up and going is just been amazing. I'm telling you, we just look around and there's black all over. But these crews came in and they set poles, and we have no idea where all these people came from. You know, there were multiple counties that were involved in putting out this fire. I don't know how far it went north of us. We heard maybe another section line. Not really sure, because we haven't been out to check, but we know that on our property, as far as you can see, it's just black. But you know what? It'll green up. It'll green up. This shot right here I took through binoculars, and I thought it was a pretty cool shot, and I thought, oh my gosh, them guys up there that, you know, like I said, the wind was 20 to 30 miles an hour, and wind gusts were up to 45, and they're hanging way up there in the air. And we were expecting rain later that night. We started getting a few sprinkles, and then the lightning came, and the lightning was terrible, and they had to just pack up and get the heck out of there, because it's just too dangerous. But all of this that they did, they got us up and going, got us replaced, and I'm telling y'all, it was a scary thing. But I know one thing, God heard every prayer that went up for us, and that's why we all have our houses today, I believe. I know the fire department, and I am not knocking them at all. Don't think I'm not. Don't think I am knocking them. I know that they had a big hand in getting this all under control, but y'all, when it burns around your truck and under your propane tank and right up to your fuel cell and around your buildings and your houses, and there's people praying for your safety, God showed up big, and He protected us out here on the 412 Homestead. So just some reminders to be prepared, be safe, and thank you guys for stopping by the 412, and we just appreciate you all, and we thank you until we see you all again. God bless.